Welcome to our workshop on how to choose a domain name. How to choose a domain name? Well, firstly, we like to, if possible, have our primary keyword in the domain name. What that means is, in our example, for doorknobs, it means we'd like to have the word doorknobs in our actual domain name. For example, in our case, we've decided that we're going to go with www.doorknobshq.com.au. Obviously, because we're targeting Australia, we want to go for the .com.au. If you're targeting the UK, you want to get the .co.uk, and if you're targeting America, you want to go for .com. We don't really, when it comes to a commercial e-commerce site, we don't like messing around with any of the .nets or .orgs or anything like that. If you can't get the exact name you want in the .com, then we think you're better off coming up with a more unique name and sticking with the .com. Do you absolutely need to include your keyword in the title? No. Once upon a time, you used to get a bit of a boost, for example, from having an exact match domain. That's where you'd have www.doorknobs.com, but after the EMD update of September 2012, that's no longer the case. We like doing it though because it makes it very clear to anybody. For example, if they're doing a search for doorknobs and they see Doorknobs HQ, they know very quickly that we deal with what they're looking for. We don't like to have exact match domains, purely from a branding perspective. Well, that's one reason. It's hard to brand a site that's called Doorknobs. Your domain is your business name, it's your title, it's something that you need to have in your packaging, and it's something that people need to be able to remember. So you'll find, usually anyway, that you can't get the exact match domain. But we would, even if you can, we wouldn't do that. You need to think about this as a proper business. If you've come from an affiliate marketing background where exact match domains used to be the thing to have, now we're talking about real branding for a business, for a long-term business, and it needs to be a title that you can use everywhere. The other issue you need to be concerned about, and this is very different, obviously we get listeners for these workshops from countries all over the world. Every country and every state has its own laws and regulations with regards to using business names. In Australia, for example, you need to pay money and actually register a business name. When we lived in New Zealand, you didn't have to pay any money, but you still had to register the name. And this is a really important step because it's obviously potentially a legal issue. When we've started our very first website a long time ago, it was Titan Jewelry. We didn't do our research, and about a year into the business, we found out that there was an Indian company that had trademarked Titan Jewelry in Australia. They weren't actually trading. Didn't matter. They had the trademark. We had to change our name, and that's if you've been trading for a while, that's a real issue. And it can be a real costly issue as well. So we'll show you a little bit how to look for that. Obviously, we can't show up every country and every state and region in the world. We'll just show you, I guess, in Australia. That's where our focus has been, so we can give you an idea of at least what you're looking at. And finally, once we've got all that cleared, we can show you how to actually register the domain name itself. So let's get started. So as mentioned, you need to do a business name search in your particular country or state. And just as an example, we're just here at google.com.au. So if you're looking at the UK, obviously go for .co.uk, or we'll just go to google.com, and we're just going to type in Australian business name search. I have looked in other countries, and usually just typing in UK or US business name search will give you the results you need as well. Here we go, search for a business name, and because this is a government site, they do everything they possibly can to make it difficult. Okay, there's no actual search form here, how to search. Of course, there's no way to search on the actual site that is supposed to tell you how to search. Here we go, search business names, search business names. We're going to look for doorknobs. I'll spell that correctly is always a good thing. HQ. So we did have names. Somebody did call doorknobs and doors and knobs, but status is cancelled and the information is expired here. Cancel date 2010. So we're pretty good in that regards. We are going to call ours doorknobs HQ as well. In fact, we normally like to register the business name as the URL itself. It's in www.doorknobshq.com.au. That usually helps us avoid too many tricky problems with similar business names. So now that we know that we can have the business name, we're just over here at GoDaddy, which is where we generally... One of the reasons why we like GoDaddy is it's pretty dirt cheap for starters. Most domain name providers are much of a muchness in our experience. The good thing about GoDaddy for us is that they do a lot of different domain names, so we can get the .com.au's as well as the .coms as well as the .co.uk's. Anywhere we want to target we can get from the one spot, and that just makes things a lot easier when you're keeping all your domain names together. If you've got a lot of sites, even if you're putting out some information sites out there that then direct people back to your site, it's great to be able to have be able to control all your domains in the one spot. But other than that, if you're just getting .coms, most sites are as good as each other, and it often just comes down to a matter of price. So we'll do a search, doorknobshq.com.au. And congratulations is available. Just add that to our cart. Go to checkout. And then we go through the somewhat tedious process of putting in all that information and just follow it through. I'm going to end the workshop here because I don't want to show you necessarily everybody all of our private information and credit card details, as I'm sure you understand. The only thing I will say about the actual registration process is they always try to upsell you with all these crazy search engine bonuses or you know, get 5 emails for only $100 a month kind of thing. Just don't do any of that. The only extra feature that you may want to consider or may not is private registration. This will cost you extra. It just means that when people do a search for, people can do a background search on the domain and find out who registered it and where they live, basically. So if this is a worry for you, you can actually get that get a private registration done, which means it's not easy for people to find that information. It's still possible. People can always find it. But what it means is the general public won't be able to find it. So that's entirely up to you whether or not you want to do that. We do that for some of ours, purely obviously because we're a little bit more public with some of our sites. We like to keep some of them private, but that's a personal preference. Now once you've done that, check out and you will get your domain. Now some domains, usually your domain will come through instantly. Some countries like Australia, unfortunately, they go through a lot more processes. You also need an ABN before you can actually get it. It just is way more painful than pretty much any other domain on earth. So if you're registering in .com.au, then like we are, then you're in for a few more dramas, but it's generally not too difficult. And that's the end of this workshop. Thanks very much.
Thanks for watching this Talking Business workshop. If you enjoyed it, then hit like, or better yet, if you know someone that could benefit greatly from this video, share it with them. All the tools that we mentioned, whether they're paid or free, are listed below, and sometimes we get some pretty good deals on them, so be sure to use our links. If you want more workshops, head back to talkingbusiness.com. But if you need the blueprint, grab yourself a copy of our book, Retail Rebellion, and we'll see you next time.